Hey guys! So this is actually part 2 in a series about the process of studying abroad. You can see the previous video over here to see me talk about the application process and getting yourself ready to go over there. So this week I'm going to be talking about the process of getting ready and packing and then actually getting yourself onto the plane. First piece of advice in terms of buying plane tickets, first check if your program has any specialized groups or discounts that you can use. Those are almost universally going to be your best bet in terms of getting the best price. Next, you can look at some student flyer programs. I used STA Travel, linked down in the description. Use a travel agent if you can at all help it. We did some really fancy stuff with my route and booking my tickets that enabled us to get a few $100s off of them that we wouldn't have been able to do if we just booked our tickets online. This should probably go without saying, but book your ticket as far in advance as you can. They're going to get more expensive the closer you get to your departure date, so really you should be booking your ticket as soon as you know exactly when you're going to leave and when you need to get there. Now I'm going to talk about packing your luggage. So as soon as you book your ticket, you should find out how much luggage you're allowed to bring onto the plane. For most international flights, it's going to be 2 checked bags. For most domestic flights, it's going to be 1 checked bag and 1 carry-on, or even no checked bags if they're jerks. It is basically never worth it to bring more checked bags than what you can bring on your international flight. If you're packing well, you should have more than enough space. Essentials are going to be provided by your host family or by your program, so save your money to go shopping later for what you need. Speaking of what you need, you should be packing less of absolutely everything. Like, a good strategy is to pack your suitcase and then take out half of everything that you just put in your suitcase. You should be leaving a ton of space in your luggage. You're going to be bringing back a lot of souvenirs, any shopping that you do over there, a whole bunch of stuff. I went over to Japan with almost an entire empty, full-sized suitcase, and I came back with that full, in fact a little bit over full. So the other big thing about getting ready to leave the country is that you have to prepare yourself emotionally for the fact that you're not going to be around your family and friends for a few months. This is going to affect different people in different ways, so I don't really feel comfortable giving any broad statements. How I personally dealt with it was to spend as much time with my friends as possible and really just think a lot about the fact that I was not going to see these people for a few months, and then also set up things like Skype dates and figure out what apps I was going to be using to communicate and really figure out what my support system was going to be while I was abroad. If you're a more emotionally stable person or you're not as close to the people back at home, then it might look very different for you. Some study abroad prep programs will tell you to minimize contact with people back at home in order to get the most out of your study abroad experience, but I'm not really sure I buy into that. I'm pretty sure that would have been disastrous for me if I tried to do that. I'm actually going to do a separate video about the impacts of anxiety and depression while you're studying abroad, because I feel like that's a much more in-depth topic that I want to get into, right now. So finally, the actual process of getting yourself to the airport and onto the plane. My number 1 piece of advice at the airport is be early, and that doesn't just mean be to the airport early, although it does mean that. I mean also prepare yourself early, get everything together the night before, even if you're leaving in the early afternoon. Make sure you're 100% packed a day before you're going to go to the airport, because you're going to remember at least a half a dozen other things. Make checklists of everything that's essential, check twice that everything is in your luggage, and get to the airport at least 3 hours early if you're going to be getting on an international flight. If you have the ability, check in from the app on your phone. Assume just by default that you're going to be stuck in security or check-in or something else for at least an hour and a half. They're going to lose your boarding pass. Everything is going to be terrible. Airports are hellish and unpredictable, so just assume that everything will go wrong. What's probably going to actually happen is that you're going to get to the airport stupid early, get through everything really fast, and then read a book at your gate for an hour and a half, but it is always so much better to be prepared. So once you're on the plane, take a deep breath. Relax, breathe. This is the easy part, although the very boring part. Unless you're afraid of flying, in which case I'm sorry. Okay, so next time I'm going to talk about actually getting yourself into the country and what those first few days are going to be like. Again, if you have any specific questions, you can leave them down in the comments here or ask me on Twitter or on Tumblr. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see all of you later.